everyone! Welcome to the channel dedicated to sharing the profound insights and wisdom of Andromedan contactee Alex Collier. If you're new here, you're in for a journey that expands your mind and consciousness, bringing you closer to understanding the messages from the fifth density Andromedan extraterrestrials. For those returning, we're grateful for your continued support. Before we dive into today's enlightening content, we have a small favor to ask. If you find value in the knowledge shared in this video, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to our channel, and clicking the bell icon so you never miss an update. Your engagement helps us amplify Alex Collier's message, allowing us to reach a larger audience with these vital messages. We'd also love to hear from you, so please engage with the comments below. Whether it's a question, your thoughts, or even just an emoji for the sake of engagement, every comment counts. We read every single comment, and your feedback is incredibly valuable to us. Additionally, if you'd like to support us further, consider giving a super thanks tip by clicking the heart with the $sign. This small gesture allows us to continue bringing you more of Alex's messages, unfiltered and directly from his lifelong experiences with the Andromedans. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. It's been a fine day here, and it seems all is well in the world. I'm very happy. Been building the cabinets. Alex will explain. And how's things with you, Alex? How are they going? What are we going to be talking?
They're good. Current staff. We're going to bring everybody up to date with a lot of things that are going on in the public purview, and then what's been going on and what is going on behind the scenes. Hello, everyone. JP made a cabinet for his English tea, and it's actually stellar. It's actually really quite nice. Listen, thank you, everyone, for being here live. More than appreciated. This wouldn't happen without you. JP made the comment, all is right with the world. And yesterday, I went to a space where everything was right. Everybody was getting along. There was bipartisan cooperation here in the United States. And then I woke up from my nap, only to realize that that's not really what's happening. But let's review. Let's just get into this stuff. Okay. There are no no's today, per se. 3 years ago, after the election of President Donald Trump, the deep state went right to work and to undo and to mire his administration with just absolute nonsense. Now, what's interesting is that this whole thing started not only with the Obama administration, but on point was John Brennan and the CIA. Now, it's interesting that here we are 3 years later, and we find ourselves coming full circle back to a whistleblower who works for the CIA. Not a first-hand whistleblower, but a second-hand, third-hand information whistleblower. And 2 days prior to the releasing of the whistleblower dossier, the CIA had changed the whistleblower law to fit this new narrative. Now, if you're paying any attention to everything that's going on, this whole new narrative is blowing up in pretty much everyone's face. Now, what's interesting is that not only are the Democrats using all the same verbiage, but so is the major media. So again, we go back to Operation Mockingbird. And Operation Mockingbird is where the Central Intelligence Agency has a media department, and they are writing literally the press for all the major media, which is why everybody says essentially the exact same thing in almost the exact same way. So it's all being fed. So we have to take a look at what exactly is happening here. Now, this goes global, so bear with me. What's happened is that the white hats on Earth, the benevolence of Earth, have literally gotten the dark side and the cabal, the deep state, cornered. They literally are cornered. And because they're cornered, they are now being forced to react. And in order to defend themselves, they have to show themselves. They can no longer hide behind anybody else. They have to come to the forefront and justify and defend themselves, or try to defend themselves from exactly what they've been doing for all these years. Now, Ukraine is just a symptom. The attacks on this administration and other administrations is just a symptom of institutionalized corruption. And I've said this before, my dad used to always tell us when we were kids, we have the finest government money can buy. That turns out to be absolutely true. And we can see that now because it's all coming to the forefront, the corruption. Now, the ultimate whistleblower here is actually the President of the United States. It's not these bogus hats that are being paraded in front of us. And whether you like Trump or not, really doesn't matter. Because that's just the narrative. That's where the media, that's where the cabal, that's where the deep state, they want to narrow the conversation. And the conversation is you either Trump or you hate Trump. Okay? You are either a liberal Democrat or you're a deplorable denigrate, despicable. That's pretty much the narrative. The narrative isn't about corruption that's been going on anywhere. It's about an email and a phone conversation that the president's been having. That narrows everybody's focus to this big. It doesn't cover the entire agenda that's been going on behind everyone's back, that every government is virtually involved in. It's institutionalized corruption. And certainly here in the United States, essentially what they want to do is they want to tell half of the country, your votes don't mean anything because we don't agree with you. So we're going to undo it. We're going to turn this thing around, and we're going to not only punish the guy you voted for, but we're going to punish you, the American citizens, as well. Because we know better, because we're the deep state. We're the corrupt ones. We own you. We own the system. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay? Reagan once said that freedom has to be fought for all the time and defended all the time, because it is simply one generation away from being lost. And that is no more true here than it is around the world. A lot of people are caught up in this narrative. What's at stake is something far greater. We are talking about, now in some countries, there is no freedom of speech. In some countries, there are no constitutional rights. There are no individual liberties, freedom of the press, religious freedom, freedom from search and home invasion without a declaration from a court, habeas corpus. Those things don't exist in a lot of countries. But in the countries that it does exist, sometimes they pay attention to it, sometimes they don't. Here in the United States, you have a deep state that simply is choosing to ignore not only the Constitution and the laws that the government is supposed to adhere to, but they do whatever the hell they want because they own the system. Now, they own the system because pretty much most of our politicians are on the team. They're being paid through political donors, PAC groups. Now, they're not being paid directly. What happens is, in the system, is that once you become a congressman or a senator, you set up a foundation or a trust, and you appoint people that you know you can trust, usually a family member, to run this operation for you, so that political PACs, defense contractors, IT contractors can make donations to your trust, to your foundation, because you're doing such a good job. And what this does is this buys them your attention, your awareness of issues that are very important to know. In many cases, it also buys protection. And that's what's going on here in the United States. And that's what's being uncovered. Now, it's been a dirty secret that people knew about for years and years. This really changed and really became prominent after Kennedy was assassinated. It got real bad. And now it's to the point where this system believes it's entitled to run the show and to pick who's president, to choose who does what, whenever, wherever. And this is why the Department of Defense, a group of white hat generals and admirals, approached Donald Trump to run, because they were going to have to do something to deal with this issue. Because, yes, this was about the United States, but ultimately it's really about the planet and the direction that the planet's going. Now, why Donald Trump? Because he's a fighter. He's a street fighter. And in many arenas, he's a prize fighter, especially when it comes to business. He's not a pansy. He's not a pansy in any way, shape, or form. Okay, and when he's in a fight, he doesn't back down. You have to knock him out. Otherwise, he keeps coming back at you until you knock him out. And we've witnessed the deep state now for 3 years trying to knock him out. So that's why the DOD went to him. They also went to him because they, unbeknownst to a lot of people, over 2-3 decades, he has always been there for the military. He has done a lot of things for our guys, for our troops on the ground, transportation, whatever it was that they needed, he's done. And no one talks about that. No one talks about the things that he's done for our military as a private citizen, as a billionaire, how he's helped and done so much. This is how they know him. This is how they know his character. Now, whatever anybody thinks of him, it really doesn't matter at this point. It really doesn't. Because the issue isn't the president. The issue is the country. It's what's going to happen to this country if the deep state is successful in taking over the executive branch of government. Now, they were this close to doing that, but Hillary lost the election. Okay? It wasn't stolen from her. She said, "Hey, she lost it." Okay? She lost it. End of story. She didn't do what she had to do. She didn't do enough of what she wanted. She believed all her own press, and she lost. Not to mention that everybody in the world knew she was corrupt. Corrupt. So where do we find ourselves today? What ultimately is going to come out is that the Obama administration was probably the most corrupt in history. That's one. Two, he had no right to be president because we still don't have a reimbursement. We still don't really know who he is, other than his own confession that he was a Kenyan-born president of the United States. That's it. And he said that in Kenya in July of 2018. So I'm you too. Now, We have uranium-1. 20% of the United States' military-grade plutonium, uranium, was sold to a Russian energy company. This energy company had offices in Canada, and that's pretty much where the deal was brokered. Canada and the United States, and then Russia. This deal was brokered by the Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, the President, Barack Obama, and this energy company. The first samples of our uranium was flown from the U.S. to Moscow. The person who delivered that uranium was Bob Mueller, Robert Mueller, the special prosecutor that was investigating Trump for Russian collusion. And that's who delivered the first samples. That uranium not only ended up in Iran, but pieces of it also ended up in a secret military laboratory in northern Syria, which is right on the Iranian-Syrian border. This is a fact. It's the worst scenario, the worst nightmare. Okay. And Hillary Clinton and Obama set this up. They did this. Libya. Again, Obama and Hillary Clinton. What's fascinating about that is that all the gold that Gaddafi had and the country of Libya had, where did it go? Where did all the gold go? We know it didn't come to the United States. So where'd the gold go? That's a question that's going to be answered very soon. Why does Barack Obama have a bank account with tens of millions of dollars in the Vatican? What's he doing with a bank account in the Vatican with tens of millions of dollars in? That's going to be answered real soon as well. The Clinton Foundation, when they come out with FISA, that's either going to be along with it or right after it. It may even be before FISA. Now, once Bob Mueller delivered the uranium, a $140 million donation from this energy company was made to the Clinton Foundation. It's probably just a coincidence. Probably. No. Okay, it's not. And this goes on and on. The institutionalized criminality, Joe Biden was just doing what everybody else had been doing. His problem was he bragged about it. He bragged about it at what? Council on Foreign Relations, about how he got this prosecutor fired because he was going after the company Burisma and his son, and he bragged about it. So he's busted. And that's not the only time he's done this. China's a bigger deal. That's $1.5 billion. But this kind of corruption has been the standard, and the American people are just now really beginning to find out how bad it is. The projection of all of this negativity and criminality that's being projected on the executive branch now has absolutely nothing to do with this president, with our current president. Nothing to do with that. It's all a projection of what the Democratic Party's doing and have been doing for quite some time. Now, that doesn't mean some Republicans aren't there. They are. Okay? It goes both ways. But here we have the deep state corner, absolutely corner. CIA, the dark side of the CIA is cornered with everything they've been doing, from drugs, trafficking, human trafficking, weapons sales, tourism. The list is endless of what they've been up to. In our name, in the name of the American people and freedom, this is what they've been doing. This one happened. The CIA, okay, the dark side. And who comes to their rescue? The Democratic Party. Okay, we have the deep state totally cornered, and who comes to their rescue? The Democratic Party. Folks, you got to be paying attention to this. Okay? We can't give these people power. We can't give them power. Look at this. Look what they're defending. This has nothing to do with the Constitution, as the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, says. She couldn't spell the word Constitution. What they say is rubbish. This isn't even a real impeachment. They have to have a vote. Okay? This is theater. This is all this is. Because if they were to have a real vote in the House, the minority party, which is the Republicans, would have subpoena power, and they would have the ability to submit evidence that completely blows the Democratic Party to smithereens. It will also hurt the Republican Party. It will. Okay? At least in name only. The point is we have a corrupt government, the finest government money can buy, and we have got to clean house. Those of us who voted for the president to drain the swamp, we got to drain the swamp. And that means both parties have to go. At least a majority of them have to go. That are dirty. They have to go. And we, the people, whether you're right or you're left, do you want to have a country that's free? Do you want to have freedom of speech, freedom of worship? Do you want to be free to make a living, to live and enjoy in the pursuit of happiness? We have to clean house. There's no question about what we got to do here. Right or left, it doesn't matter. The point is, what do you want? Because let me tell you something. This country is so screwed up that if you vote in socialism, it will last 2 years max before the entire thing falls in on itself. Because a country that is $22 to $44 trillion in debt, you can't give away there's nothing to give. Who's going to keep giving you money to give everybody everything for free? No. They're going to tell you to kiss off. Exactly what they're going to. And what happens to a socialist country that collapses? Fascism. Corporate fascism. And we're already beginning to see that with the technology companies. They're already implementing corporate fascism, technological fascism. It's already in your face. So they're setting us up. They really think we're idiots. And we got to prove them wrong before you spend them wrong. Okay? We can't go down this road. There are 205 countries that are trying to break away from the banking cartel, the Rothschild banking cartel, debt slavery. The U.S. is one of those. Everybody's had it. Okay? Because the long-term goals of the United Nations, which will be the seat of power if the United States falls. And now they're trying to bully everyone, along with the media. Okay, the media is an absolute accomplice here, into driving us down this road to look at just one thing, President Trump, and a conversation he had with another head of state. Getting you to forget or to ignore everything else that they've been doing for years and years. Okay? The Democratic Party is protecting the criminal cabal. They are protecting the deep state, and they are protecting their own institutionalized corruption. Okay? Point of fact, and if we were talking about the Republican Party, I would be saying the exact same thing. Exact same thing. Because this ain't about politics. We are a country of people and of families. 300 million plus of us. We have got to protect ourselves. This is why the founding fathers created the Bill of Rights. Okay, that's why we have a constitution, to chain the government down. We didn't do that. We didn't do that. But we are able to still protect ourselves. And the Democrats have already told you, we're going to take all of that away from you. We're going to take that away from you. So you won't have to protect yourself. It's going to be a utopia. When's that ever at? Okay, look at these sanctuary cities. Are they utopias? My God. Why would anybody go down that road when it's obviously an absolute abject failure? We have to protect ourselves. We have to protect our families. We have to protect our country. Because, ladies and gentlemen, where else are we going to live? England has the same issues. We just don't hear about. They have pretty much the exact same issues. Europe very much has the same issues. Russia has a lot of issues. They have their own deep state. Okay, China, the Chinese are different. They're a little harder to figure out. Okay. It's like they want to become the world's capitalist #1 nation, but they're dragging communism along with them, and it's dead. It's a dead thing. They need to just let it go, but they refuse to because they believe that it's going to give them more power. It's lunacy. It's lunacy. When we talk about CO2, we talk about plastics in the oceans. Plastics in the oceans, 90% of it is China. Just a fact. It is China. Indonesia contributes a great deal to it. The CO2, now, they produce the most in the world. But let's go back to real scientists, not bullshit computer programs that have been rigged to come up with something else that isn't real at all. But let's just look at real science. In 10,000 years, the temperature has only gone up 0.9% of 1 degree. 0.9 degree. And we're going to destroy the United States for this? Come on. We're going to take out every European country, every economy, everywhere for this? It's lunacy. It's absolute lunacy. And ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world, we can't allow this to happen. We just can't. There are incredible countries. But look at what's happening in Sweden. I'm appalled at what's happened to that incredible country under these politics. It's just, and they're not the only ones. Europe, all over Germany. Look at what's going on there. Freedom. Freedom is a gift we give ourselves. Doesn't come from a government. They have no right to tell us. Okay, we remember, people create governments. It only exists because we create it to manage affairs for us, and typically it's foreign affairs. Was never meant to be God, to become king, to become mommy or daddy, because it's not sustainable. Okay, the problem with governments is that they don't produce anything. All they do is take and take. And once their appetite becomes insatiable, they take more and more. And they will take more than they're entitled to. And that leaves the people in poverty. This is happening all over the world. So the governments then go to private banking, central banks, and say, we need to borrow money to run the country because we squandered it all already, whatever we had. We put nothing back into our countries. We've taken all the wealth out because of institutionalized corruption And then what happens is the banks say, sure, but we want to put a lien on your country's natural resources. And we want to put taxes in your country. And we also want to leverage your children's life and their ability to earn something by giving them a number so we can track cradle to grave what they pay so that we can not only take a percentage of that, but then you can leverage that as a debt instrument to borrow more money from us. Okay, that's the Social Security system here in the United States. It's a brilliant plan. It's a brilliant plan. Completely dastardly, but a brilliant plan. Because it's enslaved everyone in this country economically, whether they realize it or not. And the central banks print the currencies for each of these countries, but the countries don't actually own the currencies. It is loaned to the countries. It's loaned in 1%, 2%, as high as 6%. Could even be higher in some other countries. Here in the United States, it's between 2 to 4%. Okay, our government goes to the central bank and says, okay, I want to borrow money. Central bank says, sure, here you go. We're going to charge you 2 points. 2 points on the $1 trillion. Problem is they don't print the actual interest money. So it doesn't exist. So when it's time to pay back the money, the interest, the government has to figure out a way to take it out of the system of the economy. So it creates taxes, more taxes. And it takes that money out of the system and then gives it to the central bank. Okay, who's just printing money out of thin air. That's how this system works. This is your deep state. This is your cabal. It's across the planet. And what happens is, as money becomes more expensive, the government can't borrow more because they've already been siphoning so much money out of the economy already. And that's where every country is. None of them can pay back their debts to the central bank system. Okay, they're all completely broke. They are economically enslaved. 205 countries at least. So this is why we're looking at a currency reset, a global reset, to free us from the system. Now, this system, which has been built by the cabal, the deep state, the military-industrial complex, the Illuminati, the Orion Consortium. Let's just put them all together in the Orion Consortium. Okay, this includes off-world, inner world, Nephilim, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so from this point on, it's the Orion Consortium. They're corner. They're toast, and they absolutely know it. But they're not going to surrender. Okay, they're not going to surrender. They're going to do everything they can to survive because there's no tomorrow for them. Okay, the off-world, the Nephilim, the shenanigans that they've been up to has not just involved us. It's involved other life forms in our solar system. It's involved other life forms in other solar systems across the galaxy. Dirtbags. That's an Earth word. But they're dirtbags. They're the worst kind of parasite there is. They take and they take and they take and they take with no compassion whatsoever. And after they had sucked the life out of everything and killed it, they move on. This is who the cabal and the deep state is defending. Okay? Because they're just like it. They have become just like it. Now, the off-worlders, they have their own set of problems, which is why they're no longer defending the deep state and the cabal here on Earth, the Illuminati. The Illuminati and the deep state and the cabal, that's our stuff. Okay, we have to deal with that because we set this up. We allowed this to happen. Okay, we've known for years just in this country what the CIA's been up to since the 60s. Okay, bringing back heroin and cocaine from Central America, heroin from Southeast Asia. We've known. President Trump is talking about removing our troops out of Afghanistan. This really upset the CIA because that's the opium trade. They've been running the show there since we invaded and we kicked the Taliban out. Okay? It's just like in Southeast Asia. The French were running the opium trade until we went into Southeast Asia and the CIA took it over. It's a cash cow. We have to clean this mess up, ladies and gentlemen. There is no going anywhere else. Okay, and the narratives that the major media gives you is absolutely such a crock. There's so much more going on, and it's global. It's global. And every single country is involved in this, is affected by this. Now, I've been across the United States dozens of times. There's only a handful of states that I haven't been to. Most people are really awesome. When someone's in trouble, they're there to help. Okay? Even gangs, gang members. If someone in their gang is in trouble, they're there to help because they're family. They may not treat everybody else like that, but they're family. We all have families. People we know, people we care about. But this move that's going on right now, this is where we have to have and show resolve. Now, the CIA is freaking out. The deep state is freaking out. The military-industrial complex. Why? Because all of their nefarious deeds are going to come out and see the light of it. The white hats, along with benevolent off-world help, are hovering right over the targets. You understand what I'm saying? They're hovering right over the targets. They're about to open up their bay doors and drop the bombs of truth, the bombs of reality, and names will be shown, names will be told, names will be printed, and people are going to go down. Big time. Big time, people. This is not a time for us to get amnesia. This is not a time for us to buy all the bullshit hype that this administration, that the President of the United States is responsible for all of this stuff. He has been fighting for his life for 3 years. He didn't create all this other shit. No. But he's the one calling it out. And he's the one right there, right now, calling it out. Remember Obama? Change you can believe. He was worse than all of them. Facts. He was worse than all. So what am I asking you to do? I don't know how many of you have even clicked off at this point. It doesn't matter. I was going to give this talk anyway, even if it's one person, because I care about humanity. I know how awesome we are. Okay? I have had the experience of standing next to another race from another dimension, looking down at us, and our drive to live, our drive to succeed, to become whole, to seek joy and to seek happiness, in spite of all the obstacles that have been thrown in our path. And we have done this bearing our children along the way and trying to raise families all along the way while the whole world and the media is telling us the place is shit, when in fact, they're the problem. Not us. They are the problem. Look, I'm asking for everybody to support in any way that you can the truth. And that's going to require some of you to actually have to do some research. Okay? Not to listen to CNN, MSNBC, because it's rubbish. Everything they're telling you is rubbish. Literally, I wouldn't even believe the weather report from those two stations. Not for a second. And I'm not saying Fox is perfect either, because it's not. There are many alternative sources of information. You have to do the research. You have to question everything. Now's the time. Because when this thing goes down, when the truth comes out in the deep state and all of it, the military industrial complex, when this whole thing comes crashing down, and the truth comes out in front of everybody, oh my God, nothing is what it appeared to be. We have been living a lie for the most part. We have been manipulated beyond our own comprehension to understand. There is the ability to defend ourselves, to raise our families, to watch out for each other, and to invest and create our countries. Even if we have to start from scratch, it is something we have to do. There's nowhere else for us to go. We have to do this. We have to begin to prepare ourselves for this. Because it is not going to be business as usual. Money isn't going to fix this. Okay? A lot of people think, oh, I'll be happy with the reset. Money doesn't fix anything except end the struggle. It doesn't fix what's broken inside of ourselves. It never will. It'll only mask it for a time. And that's the work. That's the work. There is a movement, it's been very quiet, to restore the original Constitution, a common law government. We lost that in 1871 here in the United States. We lost that. The Congress bankrupted the common law United States. And in 1871, created a corporate entity. And that's where we lost it. We're going to have to relearn civic responsibility. We're going to have to relearn the original intentions that the founders created this country on. Because whatever you think of the United States, it has taken the dark side, the cabal, the banking consortium, the Orion consortium, 243 years to try to take this nation down. That's how long they've been at this. Okay, they never stopped coming at the country. Self-rule. They don't want self-rule because that means they're not in charge, that they're not entitled to take your property, tell you what to do, and run your life. That's just appalling to them. And they would never allow it under any circumstance. We bought into a hook, line, and sinker, and we've been living under this mirage for a long time. But now they're calling it out. Now they're showing us absolute disdain for the Constitution, for liberties, freedom of speech, the right to defend yourselves. They're in your face with that, saying it's rubbish. We know better. We know better. You don't deserve it. Okay? And in fact, we think so little of you that in 30 years, 15, 30 years, we're going to get rid of half, 2/3 of you. That's how little we think of you. Cassius once said, and I'm going to read this, self-knowledge has always meant surpassing of limitations and a coming to maturity. Mankind makes itself. And we are the direct, and we are also our own. Mankind makes itself, and we are also our own historians. We also are the directors of our own futures. We have to take responsibility for the future because we are our own inheritance. Things are going to change very quickly, folks. They're going to change really quick. And the good times are coming, but we still have a responsibility here. We have to support what's right that's going on right now. And if you don't know what's right, that's the biggest problem because you don't know. You're relying on someone else telling you what's the right thing to do. You don't have to believe a word I'm saying, and I'm not telling you that you do. What I'm pointing out to you is you have got to know what's going on yourself so that you can make these decisions, the right decisions. Okay? Because not only the future of our planet, but the future of our race on this world is what we're looking at. We're at that moment where we have to make decisions. We have to make choices. And again, this is not about Trump. He's the whistleblower. He's calling BS to BS. Okay? This isn't right or left. This is about an institutionalized corruption. Worldwide, we're being treated like we're a commodity by government. Why would that be okay to anyone? Why would that be okay to anyone? It shouldn't be. Okay? The only reason governments exist is because we put it in place to help us, to manage some things for us, not to become God and then turn around and enslave us and then treat us like we're a commodity. Buckle up. There's a lot coming. It's going to be coming really fast. As these revelations come about and everyone begins to understand what's coming and what's been going on all these years, and people begin to have righteous anger, and half of our government ends up resigning. The other half maybe goes to jail. I'm not sure how this is all going to play out. It's we, the citizens, that are going to have to pick up the pieces here. Okay? Because government's going to lose all credibility, at least for a time. There's just no getting around it. So we're going to have to pick up the pieces, at least locally to start. And then locally and then on a state level, because everyone's been on the take. Everyone's been on the take. And when we move to a common law system and there's a currency reset, which eliminates all debt, everything changes. Not just on a surface physical level, but on an energetic level as well. On an energetic level as well. Are we going to embrace that? Are we really going to truly want to be free? Are we really going to want to take responsibility to raise our children in freedom and to teach them freedom and to teach them how to protect it once we realize how we lost it? How it was stolen from us all over the world. This is a really big deal, folks, because the galaxy is watching. The dimensions are watching. Okay? Right now, the focus is on us. The focus is on us. Will we rise to the occasion? Will we step up? Will we step up and do the right things? Will we do the right thing for ourselves, for our citizens, our neighbors, for our stage, for our country, for the world? Will we all step up and do the right thing when the governments begin to collapse under the weight of their own corruption? The United States was meant to be the last domino, but they couldn't figure out how to get the guns away from everybody. Okay? Because it's really easy to conquer a country when you've disarmed everyone. They had an issue with the United States. Had a real issue. Because in our Bill of Rights, they made the right to bear arms to protect ourselves number 2 on the list. The first was freedom of worship, freedom of the press, freedom of speech. The founding fathers were not idiots, regardless of what they tell you in liberal colors. They were not idiots. They looked at history and they figured out what would be the best way to protect our citizens. But ultimately, it falls back on us. Nancy Pelosi, in her announcement of an impeachment inquiry, told the story about Benjamin Franklin. After they walked out of the signing of the Constitution in Philadelphia, Mr. Franklin, what kind of government do we have? A republic, madam, if you can keep it. Okay? It's true that he said that scenario was true, but it was hilarious hearing Nancy Pelosi say something like that. Because here it is a congresswoman who's been around forever, who misquotes constitutional law all the time, because she just simply doesn't know it, and who is worth $280 million herself. Where'd that money come from? How the hell did you become worth that kind of money on a salary that Congress pays? I'll let you figure that out. I'll let you figure that out yourself. So it was hilarious for me to hear her say those words. But to those here in the United States and to those of you in other countries, the government of your countries is what, 1 million people maybe? And max? Really, it might be 50,000 people who actually make the rules. Okay, the laws, if it's even that many people. And you're millions of people. Why would you tolerate this kind of corruption in your governments? Here in the United States, we are still a constitutional republic. Or at least that's what they're trying to restore. The White Hats with this administration. The responsibility to maintain and protect freedom always relies on its citizens. Always. They can't take it away from you without your consent. And we have, over the years, the American people have acquiesced our rights to be taken away from us, and we've abdicated our abilities and our right to manage our governments so that they could just run rickshaw. And what's happened is non-government agencies, corporations have literally taken over. Here in the United States, the largest portion of the employees outside of the Department of Defense belong to senior executive services. A British corporation employs the most people in this country who are not in the Department of Defense. Wrap your head around that. Okay, go figure that. In your meditations, I would ask that you pray for the United States, for the citizens of this country, that you project a very positive outcome to all of this corruption, that the American people, that the people of the world become aware of all of this darkness and they see it for themselves. And in the seeing, they would have to be forced to acknowledge the reality of it. And once you acknowledge the reality of it, you clearly can define what you want and what you don't want. That moment's coming for everyone. What is it that you want and what is it that you don't want? The paths are very clear, and they're separating. They have already separated. You won't be able to stay in the middle anymore. There is no middle of the road. To go to the left is destruction. It's a horrible scenario for every citizen of the world. To move to the right, you're looking at a future, real promise, of unlimited freedom, of technological advances, of longer lives, of abundance. It's unlimited. One path represents freedom, an acknowledgement by the galaxy that you have value. And we're going to show you have value. To go to the other side, to the dark side, to allow it to continue the way it's always been. In 30 years, most of us won't even be here. They will have seed to there because we're a problem for them. We have no value. We're a commodity. If we didn't hold so much promise, we the people and our experiences here on Earth, we wouldn't be getting the support of the world that we are, as well as spiritual. We as soul growths would not have fallen down through the dimensions to be here, to participate, to try to make this, to fix this, rock this terrible law, to make this work. Okay, this is a really big deal, folks. This is a really big deal for all of us to not only be successful, but the energetic implications for this matter to the universe. They really do. Otherwise, this would not be playing. Right? If this is a dead end, if we were a loser, if this was a losing proposition, I would think that the isness, the creator, the generator of dimensions, we just put a black hole here. It would be that simple. But none of that's happening. Babies are still coming in, which is a really good cry. Get somebody on this. This is a big deal. I'm ready to entertain some questions if somebody has any.
Of entertainment.
Okay, let me just finish.
Go ahead.
We're there, folks. We're there. The time is turning. I truly believe with all my heart the good guys are going to win. We're going to come out on top of this. But we, as a people, we have to participate. We also have to educate ourselves about what's really been going on and who supports humanity and who doesn't. This is imperative because we have to allow the old system to collapse. We have to let it go. We can't hold on because they're screaming and whining that they deserve to remain in power. Can't allow that to happen. They have to go away. This whole system has to go away because it has not served humanity at all. We should be several hundred years into our future already. Technologically, spiritually, instead, we're stuck in this quicksand. And we all know something's wrong. We all know something's wrong. We may not have been able to define it, but now it's becoming clearer and clearer as for what's wrong. And the power is the people. We are the power here. Okay, not only here in the States, but in every country around the world, we are the power. We should never, ever surrender our freedom and our sovereignty. Ever. It's non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. Fight for it. Defend it. Protect it. Okay.
I remember when Trump was campaigning in 2016 and he was standing next to Clinton on the stage and he said, "I want to see you in jail." I remember that very clearly. Now, on another subject, October is Breast Cancer Aware Month. If there have been known cures for decades, where do you think the millions of dollars in donations go? Chairman of the board, do you think the same happens with lottery money? Where's all the money go?
It goes to the system. It goes back into the system to continue to propagate the system, to enrich the system, and to give everyone the facade that the system is not only working, but that it's working for the benefit of all of the citizens. That's where it goes. That's where the money goes. It goes into lobbying groups, PAC groups. You don't think there's something wrong with this system? It's crazy. Just look at California. Look at the cities there. Does that system look like it's working for anybody? No. No, it's not. It's not. It's imploding on itself. Chicago is imploding on itself. Parts of New York City are imploding on itself. There's cities all over the country that are imploding on itself. We hear this all the time, that the United States is the richest country in the world. And yet, 40 to 50% of us can't afford to live here. No one sees anything wrong with that? Look, it's changing. The ship is changing. It's changing course. Okay, but we're all blaming the wrong guy for this. Okay, he's actually trying to fix it. That's why the dark side's attacking the crap out of him. Okay, because he's trying to fix it. He's bringing it out in the open for everybody to see. Hey, this is not right. And you're all listening to all the wrong people here. We're listening to all the wrong people. Doesn't matter whether you like them or not. It really doesn't matter. It's about the end result here. And the end result is he's exposing the corruption, and we have to do something about it. We absolutely have to do something about it. Because if we get rid of him, and if we tell the cabal, it's okay, the corruption's okay, folks, we're done. We're absolutely done. You understand what I'm saying? We're done. If we allow this to continue and we tell them it's okay, we're done. We're done as a country. Okay? Even civil war won't fix that. Even a civil war won't fix that. Not with the technology that they have today. We have to support the white hats. And if you don't know who they are yet, that's on you. I hate to keep repeating this, but I know this group is very evolved. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, 98% of you. But I had no idea where these webinars go once we're done on Fridays. I never know who's going to see them. And, they're being bootlegged. I know that. But it's about the planet. It's about humanity. It's about us. This is about us. It's not about the corporations. It's not about the Clintons. It's not about the Trumps. It's about us. You know what Richard Pryor used to say? It's us. You're looking for justice? It's just us. Okay, I'm sorry.
On another tack, from Luca. Alex, what do you think will happen to the breakaway who are under Antarctica with their space bases on asteroids, moons, and perhaps planets as well? Will they be judged negatively by the Andromedans because of their use of slave labor, their abductions, etc.? Or, yeah, that's it.
I don't believe the A's are going to be a part of any, like a judicial system in that way. Let's look at this idea. Their Terra, their Aver. Ultimately, it will come back to us to deal with that. Will they be corralled? Will they be trapped from doing very negative things, assuming that's what they've been doing? Yes, they will. There's already pushback. Okay, there's already pushback going on. There are things going on Mars that we're not aware of that are correcting some terrible wrongs that have been going on there, especially with corporations that have been running those colonies. Corporations that have been running those colonies and other bases that we have in our solar system and maybe outside. They're all being managed by corporations from Earth or Earthbound. They're all going to be dealt with. And it may be all the space programs laid out. But before we could even deal with that, we have to fix home first. We have to be solid here. We have to be stable here first, because this is home. If they force them all to come back, they're going to bring them back here. We have to be solid. We have to be clear about what's right, and what's wrong. We have to be clear about that ourselves first. And we have to know the actual difference. And we all have to agree that what's been going on is no longer going to be allowed. Because this model, mostly what's out there, we're just propagating it out there. That's why it's not being allowed. That's why it's not being allowed. And that's why the pushback is bringing everybody back in to the inside of the solar system. I'm not exactly sure how that's all going to play out. It may very well be that there are some extraterrestrial councils or groups that are going to want to have them parts in reprimanding specific parts of our space program that have been very rogue and very negative. But if I'm right about how they operate, we here on Earth will be participating in that situation. In other words, because they have gone out and they're a part of our race, we will be part of the knowledge of the trials, of the retribution that will occur, so that we will have a clearer idea of what exactly are the rules of behavior, the protocols of behavior once you leave Earth and go into space. Okay? What we did to the Native Americans was not okay. And we cannot do that out there. There's going to be pushback. There are going to be ramifications. And I've heard some of that's already occurred. But we've got to make we've got to move through some things here first. I can tell you that the solar system is locked down. Big time lockdown. And it's being policed. And the chickens will be coming home to roost. I don't have timelines. Everything at this point is event-based. How it's all going to unfold, it's a daily event. It's really a daily event. But I want you to know that we're there. We are there. We're at this turning point right now. Okay? The white hats, the benevolents are all sitting over the targets. And once the truth bombs start exploding, We're going to lose faith in government. We have to be prepared for that. We have to be prepared for that. And there has to be a conversation amongst the people in each of our countries. How are we going to deal with this? What is it that we actually do? Because we've all taken it for granted the government will fix it. In most cases, the government's the actual problem here because they institutionalized criminality, larceny, and they're working for private corporations and not the citizens. They forgot about the citizens a long time ago. Okay? And I'm not talking death. I'm talking about you, the citizens of the world, stepping up and moving into positions of leadership in your countries, in your cities, and basically starting over. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. We're in there. Any moment, this is going to change. Okay? Any moment, the reset is going to occur, and it's probably going to come out of the blue. These are all things that are working in tandem together. And as far as the reset, 205 countries are moving to get this done. That's extraordinary. You're not hearing a word about it. Okay? But it's happening. It really is happening. Dan S. from Rosalind Heights, thank you. Dave in North Carolina, thank you. Michael in North Carolina, thank you. Michael in Brooklyn, thank you. Candace in Hawaii, Candy, thank you. To all of you, thank you. I didn't want to take a serious tone today, but I don't know how to deliver this information in any other way than except with the passion that I have. I was here in a lifetime at the founding of this country. It's personal to me, very personal. And that's why my passion is my passion. And for those of you who are American, this was an absolute miracle. America coming into being was a miracle. Because all the odds were against it. And it was a miracle. It happened. And I resent anyone trashing this country or its history or the founding fathers. I do. I flat out resent it. And that shows that they have no appreciation for the history of this country, maybe because they don't know it. But if you truly did know it and what everyone went through to make this work, you would appreciate, yes, made a lot of mistakes. A lot of terrible things happened. Like I said earlier about the Native Americans. Terrible things have happened. We have to persevere. If we don't like where it's going, then we fix it. That's one of the beautiful things about our country is that if we don't like what we're seeing, we have the freedom to fix it. We can run for office. We can write blogs. We can write newspaper articles. We have free speech. We can delegate. We can orate our feelings. We have those freedoms to make changes, to alter the course of the country. But if you lose those freedoms, you have nothing. You have no ability to make any change whatsoever. And we can't allow that to happen. No way, no how, in any way, shape, or form can we allow that to happen. Okay, the United States has been an inspiration to many other countries. Okay, there was a time everyone looked up to us. That time has come and gone because of the institutionalized criminality that we have allowed. And they have done horrible things around the world in our name. That has to come to an end. It really does. And then on us, That's on us, the citizenry. Okay, I'm out of time. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you. If you have any feedback, please let me know. I don't do Facebook. Okay, I don't do Twitter. So if you put it up there, I will never see it because I refuse to sign up for that shit. I just didn't. Okay. 2 weeks ago, I had my identity stolen already. It's a nightmare. This happens. Okay. And this is one of the reasons I'm aggravated as well, because they do this shit to me. And I'm just so fed up with it. I'm just so done with it. Okay. So that's why I'm blasting them today. Because the ramifications I have to deal with, and this happened in the 90s when I was doing the thing, and it took years to fix it. Years to fix it. Okay, I gotta go. Thank you. James, JP, thank you so much for all you do. And everyone have a great week. Pay attention. Real time, pay attention to what's going on. There's a lot happening behind the scenes. And at any moment, the doors open, the truth bombs come falling out of the sky. And it's going to be amazing. It's really going to be amazing. Okay? Peace out. I love you.
Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it insightful, please like the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future updates. If you have any questions relating to today's video, please also leave them below. We read all the comments and take on board what our viewers have to say about Alex Collier's work. Remember, your support helps Alex Collier's knowledge and the messages from the Andromedans reach more people. If you'd like to support the channel even more, you can give us a super thanks tip by clicking the heart icon with a $sign. It really helps our team bring you more content. Also, be sure to visit alexcollier.org to sign up for our regular email newsletter. It's the best way to stay updated with the latest news, exclusive content, and upcoming live webinars. For the latest insights from Alex Collier, check out alexcollier.live. And if you want to explore over 250 past webinars, head over to alexcollier.tv. Thank you for being a part of this journey and supporting Alex Collier's work. We couldn't do this without you, and we're genuinely grateful for your support. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the vast mysteries of our universe. If you would like to see the Andromedan contactee Alex Collier live via video stream, we hold a live online seminar every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. For more information on upcoming live webinars, please visit alexcollier.org.